when you're looking at 3D, 5D and 8D, we've got a straight edge to the drill, so it's very high speed, very high feed, literally punching holes. And as you go to the longer drill, up to the 40 times D, the edge changes and we go to a concave edge, so it's a little bit softer. You can still do very high feed rates, but it's a little bit of a softer cut to cope with obviously the operation that we're doing.
Welcome to another Technical Corner. Today we're talking to Robin Peachey from Mitsubishi Materials. And Robin, we've got quite a wide range to talk about today, just the whole drilling range from Mitsubishi Materials. And you've brought some really interesting products. Before we get into those, do you think drilling is a bit of an overlooked operation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to short holes, I think people think that it's quite a simple task. And I think when it comes to deep hole drilling, people are quite scared. The smaller the diameter of the hole, the more scared they tend to get.
And when there is this kind of fear around some kinds of drilling operations, I guess that there must be some low-hanging fruit around workshops, and you see. What are the biggest opportunities you think that you go into workshops and try and improve their drilling operations?
Yeah, I think as I said before, it really comes down to the small holes and the deep holes. What you tend to find is that customers will go with what they know, and that generally means pecking and multiple pecks to get down a deep hole. And so they're actually taking a long time to produce just one hole, 20 minutes to produce one single hole, where we could do it in 20 seconds. But it's how they've always done it, and it's safe. And so they stick with this method, and really they're throwing money away. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so if you're out there and you're spending 20 minutes on a hole, making and drilling a hole, then maybe you should keep on listening. We'll find out what we can do with Mitsubishi Materials products to relieve that. You've got a wide range of tools you've brought in to show us. What should we start with today?
Well, let's start with the MPS1. I mean, you could call it a workhorse, but I prefer to call it a racehorse. I mean, this is our high performance tool. It goes from 3mm up to 20mm, but I guess our core area is that 3 to 14, 3 to 16 mil area. We go from 3 times D all the way up to 40 times D. And as Mitsubishi is a materials company, we have the ability to develop our own rod and the whole process. And so what Mitsubishi have done is to develop what they call the through-coolant hole. Traditionally, if you look at competitor products, you will find a round coolant hole in a solid carbide drill. And we've gone towards a triangular hole, which has radiused corners. So we can direct our coolant flow exactly where we want it. So we can lubricate the drill, we can reduce heat, and then we can also get the swarf out. And we've also got double the coolant flow.
And I guess also, because you've increased the size of the coolant hole there, the machinery requirements are different as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It opens up more possibilities for the customer. More coolant equals more tool life, which equals more possibility. The customer can use these tools on more machines than he could before. And I'll talk about our DVAS drill in a moment, where there's a big advantage there. Just as far as the MPS1 goes, we've got, when you're looking at 3D, 5D and 8D, we've got a straight edge to the drill. So it's very high speed, very high feed, literally punching holes. And as you go to the longer drill, up to the 40 times D, the edge changes and we go to a concave edge, so it's a little bit softer. You can still do very high feed rates, but it's a little bit of a softer cut to cope with obviously the operation that we're doing.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's the MPS, the racehorse of your drills.
Yeah, MPS1.
Shall we do the DVAS next?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So the DVAS is the newest product out of this particular group. And this is a very interesting area for Mitsubishi. Once you drop below 3mm in diameter, you're then getting into an area where the coolant hole and the round coolant hole can cause quite a big problem. You need quite a high coolant pressure and you need very good filtration. So in the past, you would say that really you're looking for 70 bar coolant pressure, you're looking for a filtration of maybe 3 microns, and then you can run a drill that goes down into that 2 mil, 1 mil sort of area. What we've done with the DVAS is that we've incorporated the tri-coolant hole, the same as the MPS1. So we've actually got, it's actually 3.7 times more coolant flow now through this drill than before. And that opens up the whole market for us. So we can now put this drill onto a machine that's got 20 bar coolant, that's got 10 micron filtration mesh, and now we can use this in many different places that we couldn't use before. The drill goes from 1 mil to 3 mil, and it goes up to a maximum length of 50 times D. So we're the only people in the world at the moment that have got a twist drill through coolant of that diameter range that goes to 50 times D. So normally a customer would have to go with a gun drill, or they would have to go with the high-speed steel method and peck, come back in a few hours.
Yeah, and then finally your hole's finished.
Yeah, and we can, do that hole in a much shorter cycle time for them.
I love how you're making it cost effective to do these, what otherwise would be quite specialist operations,
Yes.
but they're actually now available to kind of mass market to your general machine shops. Then you've got another couple of products to show us as well. Let's just go through those.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the other couple we've got here, we've got the MMS drill on the end. So this is our drill purely for stainless steel. And the difference here, yes, it's got the tri-coolant hole, but this is a single margin drill. So it's got quite a small margin to help with heat generation.
What's the margin?
The margin is on the edge of the drill. It supports the drill. So on the MPS1, we have double margin, which obviously supports and makes a more accurate hole and helps with the direction of the tool. But if you go with a double margin in certain materials, it generates too much heat. So you have to then go to a single margin, and it's material dependent, I guess. Okay. And so that's the MMS. And then the DSAS drill, which is the next one, that's purely for heat resistant alloys. And again, that's got a very special, very small single margin because of the heat. And so that's the difference between the tools. Different coating, different substrate to the MPS1, but the same family.
Brilliant. So focused on the heat resistant super alloys and more exotic materials as well. Last but not least, there's an indexable drill here as well. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So from once you get outside the solid range, we then go across to the indexables from 14 mil up to 63. And this is our MVX. The MVX goes from 2D up to 60. We were the first company in the world to bring out a 6D indexable at the time. And we have a range of inserts. The nice thing about our tool is, yes, we have a square insert, so 4 edges, but we use the same insert both on the inside and outside. We obviously can mix and match for certain applications where we have a harder insert and a tougher insert, etc. But if the customer and if the application is correct, we can just use one insert in both pockets. So you only need to buy 1 pack rather than 2. So thanks for bringing these down, Robin. Really appreciate it. No problem.
And if customers are interested in trying out one of these pieces of technology, maybe the DVAS, how can they get involved?
Yeah, sure. Well, if you contact our office or if you look on our website, you can find our contact details. Reach out to us, and we'll direct the customer to the appropriate sales guy, and we'll come in and have a conversation.
Brilliant. And the details on the screen now.